2026 Kawasaki Vulcan 1700 Voyager, the luxury beast that quietly owns the highway. The moment the 2026 Kawasaki Vulcan 1700 Voyager comes to life, it doesn't just start. It takes control of the road like it was built to rule it. This isn't just a cruiser with bags. This is a full-dress touring machine engineered for one thing: total highway domination. At its core sits a massive 1,700cc liquid-cooled V-twin engine, delivering deep, effortless torque that makes every mile feel easy and unstoppable. Twist the throttle and the Voyager doesn't rush. It surges forward with calm, commanding power, like a machine that knows it has nothing to prove. With electronic cruise control and a 6-speed transmission, long-distance riding becomes smooth, relaxed, and almost dangerously addictive. This isn't about speed, it's about conquering distance without feeling it. But here's where the Voyager becomes something else entirely. It transforms into a rolling luxury fortress. The frame-mounted fairing and massive wind protection create a calm pocket of air, making high-speed cruising feel effortless and controlled. Add in a full audio system, large touring trunk, locking saddlebags, passenger backrest, and plush seating, and suddenly this machine feels closer to a luxury touring car than a motorcycle. Everything about it is designed for endurance, long rides, heavy loads, and maximum comfort. In a world full of flashy baggers fighting for attention, the 2026 Kawasaki Vulcan 1700 Voyager doesn't need to shout, because it already owns the road. (2026) Suzuki Boulevard C90T B.O.S.S, the blacked-out touring beast nobody talks about. The moment the 2026 Suzuki Boulevard C90T B.O.S.S rumbles to life, it doesn't scream for attention. It stalks the road like a silent heavyweight waiting to strike. This machine isn't flashy, it isn't trendy, but that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. Underneath its dark blacked-out styling hides a massive 1,462cc liquid-cooled V-twin engine, delivering deep, low-end torque that pulls hard and smooth from the very first twist of the throttle. This isn't about high-revving speed, it's about effortless power that just keeps going. And here's the shock: it's deceptively calm. You don't realize how fast you're moving until everything around you starts falling behind. It's quiet confidence, and it hits harder than most riders expect. But here's where the C90T B.O.S.S becomes a true highway weapon. It's built for distance, and it takes comfort seriously. With its large windshield, integrated hard saddlebags, and plush touring seat, this machine is designed to devour miles without wearing you down. The low seat height and relaxed ergonomics make it accessible, while the heavy, planted chassis gives it rock-solid stability, even at highway speeds. Add in shaft drive reliability, smooth fuel injection, and classic cruiser balance, and you get a bike that doesn't just ride, it endures. In a world full of loud, overhyped cruisers, the 2026 Suzuki Boulevard C90T B.O.S.S stays in the shadows and quietly proves it can outlast them all. (2026) Triumph Rocket 3 GT, the 2,500cc monster that makes everything else look weak. The moment the 2026 Triumph Rocket 3 GT comes to life, it doesn't just start, it unleashes something that feels completely out of control in the best way possible. This isn't just a cruiser, this is the most insane muscle bike ever put into production. At its core sits a monstrous 2,458cc inline-3 engine, the largest in any production motorcycle, delivering brutal, earth-twisting torque that hits like a freight train the second you touch the throttle. We're talking over 220 Newton-meters of torque, delivered low and hard, making acceleration feel less like riding and more like being launched. This thing doesn't build speed, it teleports you forward, and somehow, despite all that madness, it stays smooth, controlled, and dangerously addictive. But here's what makes the Rocket 3 GT truly unbelievable. It's not just a power monster, it's a luxury highway weapon. Built for long-distance domination, it combines laid-back GT ergonomics, premium suspension, and advanced rider tech into one unstoppable package. The riding position is relaxed, the wind protection is real, and the comfort level is so high that riders have literally described covering massive distances like it's nothing. One rider even said, "Long highway runs feel like standing still because of how effortlessly it cruises." Add in its aggressive stance, massive rear tire, and premium finishes, and you get a machine that doesn't just stand out, it dominates everything around it. The 2026 Rocket 3 GT isn't trying to compete, it's rewriting what a cruiser is supposed to be. "2026 Yamaha Raider S, the chopper beast that refuses to die." The moment the 2026 Yamaha Raider S roars back into the spotlight, it doesn't just return, it sends shockwaves through the entire cruiser world. Because this isn't just another comeback, this is the resurrection of one of the most aggressive factory choppers ever built. Long, stretched, and unapologetically bold, the Raider S looks like it rolled straight out of a custom garage, but it's 100% factory muscle. And then you twist the throttle. Powered by a massive 1,854cc air-cooled V-twin, this machine delivers brutal, low-end torque that hits instantly and pulls like a freight train from the very first RPM. This isn't smooth and quiet, it's raw, mechanical, and full of attitude. It doesn't ask for attention, it demands it. But here's what makes the Raider S truly dangerous. It's not just about power, it's about presence. The raked-out front end, low seat height, and massive rear tire give it that unmistakable chopper stance, while still delivering surprisingly balanced handling for a bike this extreme. And despite its wild look, it's built with Yamaha reliability, something riders consistently praise, with many calling the engine a beast that lasts for years with proper care. This is a bike that doesn't try to fit into modern cruiser trends, it stands outside them. In a world full of safe, predictable machines, the 2026 Yamaha Raider S brings back something rare: attitude, character, and just enough madness to remind you what riding is supposed to feel like. "2026 Honda GL 1800 Goldwing Tour DCT, the luxury machine that makes cars feel obsolete." The moment the 2026 Honda GL 1800 Goldwing Tour DCT comes to life, it doesn't feel like a motorcycle anymore. It feels like stepping into a moving luxury suite built for the open road. This isn't just a touring bike, this is the machine that defines touring. At its core sits a legendary 1,833cc flat-six engine, delivering unbelievably smooth power that feels almost electric in how effortlessly it moves. But here's where everything changes: the 7-speed dual-clutch transmission, DCT. No clutch, no stress, just seamless, lightning-fast shifts that feel like the bike is reading your mind. Twist the throttle, and instead of chaos, you get a perfectly controlled surge of power that makes long-distance riding feel almost unreal. This isn't just smooth, it's next-level refinement that most motorcycles can't even come close to. But the real shock? The Goldwing Tour DCT doesn't just move you, it surrounds you in luxury. With its double wishbone front suspension, the ride stays incredibly stable and reduces fatigue even on long journeys. Add in features like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, cruise control, massive storage including a 61-liter trunk, and even a reverse plus walking mode for easy maneuvering, and suddenly this machine feels closer to a high-end touring car than a bike. Riders constantly describe it as effortless, with some saying the suspension makes rough roads feel freshly paved. This isn't just about getting somewhere, it's about arriving without feeling the journey at all. In a world full of touring bikes trying to compete, the 2026 Goldwing Tour DCT doesn't chase perfection, it already is it. "2026 Indian Pursuit Limited Premium, the touring machine that just declared war." The moment the 2026 Indian Pursuit Limited Premium fires up, it doesn't just start. It makes a statement that the touring world might not be ready for. This isn't just another luxury bagger. This is a full-scale challenge to everything riders thought they knew about long-distance machines. At the heart of this beast sits the brutally refined Power Plus engine, delivering up to 126 horsepower and 133 pound-feet of torque, numbers that hit harder than most American 5 twins have any right to. Twist the throttle and the bike doesn't ease into motion. It surges forward with aggressive, sport-like urgency while still feeling unbelievably smooth. This is where things get wild. A touring bike that moves like a performance machine, blending speed, torque, and control into something that feels almost unfair to the competition. But here's where the Pursuit Limited Premium completely changes the game. It's not just powerful, it's loaded with tech that feels straight out of the future. We're talking blind spot warning, rear collision alerts, smart lean ABS, traction control, and ride modes, all working together to create a riding experience that feels almost predictive. Add in the 7-inch ride command system with navigation, Apple CarPlay, and premium audio, plus over 36 gallons of storage, and suddenly this bike transforms into a luxury touring fortress on wheels. The chassis-mounted fairing, adjustable windshield, and heated seating turn long-distance rides into something dangerously comfortable. In a world where touring bikes try to balance power and comfort, the 2026 Indian Pursuit Limited Premium doesn't compromise, it dominates both. "2026 Yamaha VMAX 1700 V4 Turbo, the muscle bike that should be illegal." The moment the 2026 Yamaha VMAX 1700 V4 Turbo fires up, it doesn't just make noise, it sounds like something that shouldn't be allowed on public roads. This isn't just a comeback, this is Yamaha unleashing a monster that pushes the limits of what a motorcycle can handle. At its core sits the legendary 1679cc V4 engine, already famous for delivering nearly 200 horsepower and brutal torque in its standard form. But now, add a turbo. The result? A machine that doesn't accelerate, it detonates forward. Twist the throttle and the power doesn't build. It explodes, hitting with a force so violent it feels like the bike is trying to outrun reality itself. This isn't just speed, it's controlled chaos, and it hits harder than most superbikes dare to. But here's what makes the VMAX 1700 V4 Turbo truly terrifying. It's not just about insane power, it's about how addictive it becomes. The wide, muscular stance, massive rear tire, and aggressive air intakes already made the VMAX one of the most intimidating bikes ever built, and now it feels like a drag bike disguised as a street machine. Riders have always described the VMAX as a raw, primal experience, with power that feels almost uncontrollable when pushed. Now imagine that, amplified. With advanced fuel injection, electronic throttle systems, and refined tuning, Yamaha somehow keeps this beast rideable, but only just. In a world full of smart, safe motorcycles, the 2026 VMAX Turbo doesn't care about rules, it exists to break them. And once you feel that boost hit, there's no going back. "2026 Honda NM4 Voltus DCT, the futuristic machine that still feels unreal." The moment the 2026 Honda NM4 Voltus DCT powers on, it doesn't feel like a motorcycle anymore. It feels like you just activated something from the future. This machine doesn't follow any category, it breaks them all. With its ultra-low, stretched-out, feet-forward riding position and aggressive sci-fi bodywork, the Voltus looks more like a concept bike that escaped a design lab than something you can actually ride on the street. But here's where things get wild. Underneath that futuristic shell is a 745cc parallel twin engine paired with Honda's advanced dual-clutch transmission, delivering smooth, seamless gear changes with zero interruption in power. Twist the throttle and the bike doesn't jerk or hesitate. It glides forward like it already knows your next move. It's not just easy to ride, it feels almost automatic, like the machine is doing the thinking for you. But the real shock? The NM4 Voltus DCT completely redefines comfort and control. The low 650mm seat height, lounge-style riding position, and adjustable backrest create an experience that feels closer to sitting in a futuristic cockpit than riding a bike. Add in features like multiple riding modes, ABS, and customizable LED displays with dozens of color options, and suddenly this machine feels more like a rolling tech experiment than a traditional cruiser. And while it may look extreme, its engine is tuned for strong low-to-mid torque, making it surprisingly practical for real-world riding. In a world full of motorcycles trying to evolve slowly, the 2026 Honda NM4 Voltus DCT jumps straight into the future. And once you ride it, everything else starts to feel outdated. "2026 Harley-Davidson Street Glide Special, the bagger that just took over America." The moment the 2026 Harley-Davidson Street Glide Special roars to life, it doesn't just sound powerful. It feels like the entire touring world just shifted. This isn't just another Harley update, this is a full-blown takeover. Built on the legendary Street Glide platform, this machine takes everything riders already loved and pushes it into something far more aggressive, far more refined, and far more dangerous. At its core sits the brutal Milwaukee 8 117 V-twin engine, delivering around 105 horsepower and 130 pound-feet of torque, giving this bagger a deep, relentless pull that feels effortless at any speed. Twist the throttle and the power doesn't spike. It surges, smooth and commanding, like it's built to dominate highways for hours without breaking a sweat. This isn't just performance, it's authority on two wheels. But here's where the Street Glide Special goes, from powerful to unstoppable. It blends that raw muscle with next-level touring tech and comfort that completely changes the riding experience. The redesigned Batwing fairing, shaped using advanced aerodynamics, cuts wind buffeting and keeps you locked in for long rides. Add in the massive 12.3-inch Skyline OS display with navigation, ride modes, and connectivity, and suddenly this bike feels more like a high-end touring command center than a motorcycle. The seat, suspension, and ergonomics are engineered for serious distance, making mile after mile feel effortless. And that's the real secret. This bike doesn't just look intimidating, it outperforms expectations. In a world full of baggers trying to stand out, the 2026 Harley-Davidson Street Glide Special doesn't compete. It sets the standard everyone else is chasing. "2026 Suzuki Intruder C1500 BT, the forgotten touring beast that still hits hard." The moment the 2026 Suzuki Intruder C1500 BT fires up, it doesn't try to impress you. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. Because this machine has always been underestimated. At first glance, it looks like a classic, almost old-school cruiser with leather bags and a big windshield. Nothing too crazy, right? But hidden beneath that timeless design is a surprisingly powerful 1,462 cc V-twin engine, built to deliver deep, low-end torque that pulls hard the moment you twist the throttle. And here's the shock. This thing doesn't feel slow. It surges forward with a smooth but heavy punch, delivering around 131 Newton-meters of torque, giving it real muscle where it matters most. It's not about screaming speed. It's about that deep, unstoppable pull that makes highway riding feel effortless and a little addictive. But here's where the C1500 BT reveals its true personality. It's not just a cruiser, it's a long-distance weapon, hiding in plain sight. With its large windshield, leather saddlebags, relaxed ergonomics, and low 720mm seat height, this bike is built to devour miles without wearing you down. The shaft drive system and smooth fuel injection make it reliable and easy to live with, while the heavy, planted chassis gives it that solid, confidence-inspiring feel on the open road. Yes, it's big, yes, it's heavy. But once it's moving, it feels stable, controlled, and surprisingly capable for its size. In a world full of flashy, overhyped touring bikes, the 2026 Suzuki Intruder C1500 BT stays quiet, and that might be its biggest advantage. Because while others fight for attention, this one just keeps going, and going, long after the rest have stopped.